Hello there and a very warm welcome to another edition of Channels Beam. I'm Victor Matthias. Now, it was with an open heart that parents received their daughters after being abducted by Boko Haram insurgents in their school. This development, however, drew a lot of reactions from Nigerians who, on one part, applauded the government and, on the other hand, sought for answers to questions such as what process was followed to secure the release of the girls. And that will be our focus on the program today. But before we do that, let's take a look at the trending topics on the social media in the past week.
The emergence of a report that Cambridge Analytica manipulated Nigeria's elections organizing campaigns to weaken the chance of opposition parties got Nigerians talking. The company was said to have organized anti-election rallies to demoralize opposition supporters from voting in previous elections.
Armed forces are not neutral. They collude with the armed bandits. They kill people, kill Nigerians.
And Nigerians were on the defending and supporting sides of a comment made by Nigeria's former Minister of Defense and Chief of Army Staff, alleging a collusion between the Nigerian army and armed bandits to carry out an ethnic cleansing in the country.
Well, there you go. Those were the trends in the past week. But joining us now to look at the topic of the day, we have a public affairs analyst, Isaac Abraham, who joins us here in the studio. Isaac, it's a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
And also joining us via the Google Plus Hangout, we have Susan Miada, who joins us from Yola, Northeast Nigeria, Adamawa State, actually, the capital. Susan, it's a pleasure as well to have you on the program. Thank you very much. We have Abi Owagboye, who joins us from Lagos, Nigeria. Abi, thanks as well for joining us on the program. Well, we'll get to meet Abi in a bit, but Abraham, let me just come back to you to get this conversation started for us. I mean, there's been so much talk going on about the release of the Dapchi girls, as well as the abduction. I mean, what do you think, what do you make of the situation that we have at our hands at the moment?
Well, the first thing that came to my mind when I heard another abduction of girls was why Nigeria and why girls? We are yet to recover from the shock of the Chibok girls and then the whole scenarios that unfolded afterwards. And then right now, another set of girls from schools. It's startling because the message I actually got was, so girls should not go to school anymore. Because we're yet to get the Chibok girls, and then you're talking about the remaining of the Chibok girls, and then you're bringing the Dapchi girls right now. Then the second thing that got me thinking was when the president went there and was like, he's more proactive than the former administration. I was like, are you comparing, this is a real life situation that we're having, and then you're comparing proactiveness, you're comparing performance based on the lives of girls that was at stake. So to me, it didn't all go well initially when the news broke out. And then subsequently, I'm now thinking what every Nigerian is thinking. There could be a scam somewhere.
Well, let's even put that aside. But, you know, let's look at the fact that the girls were not able to be protected by the Nigerian security apparatus, and of which they have come out to say that, you know, we don't have enough manpower.
No, it's a different ballgame altogether if they don't have manpower or they have manpower. The first question that came to my mind is when I think the United Nations, or is it UNESCO, whatever, that said the military had information prior to the abduction. It's like they knew and then they didn't do anything.
Is there any proof?
There was no proof, but it was when they were accused that they had the information that the girls were returned. That's exactly what's keeping a lot of Nigerians a lot of questions were coming up. If you are accused of something and then the whole thing now, they bring them back, something fishy is going on there. Why must you be accused first before you return those girls?
Well, that fishy question, hopefully we'll get to answer it along the course of this conversation. But let me bring you into this conversation, Susan. I mean, so Isaac is saying that a lot of things, or a lot of water has gone under the bridge, since this abductions happened, and there's been a lot of questions that have been asked by Nigerians. But let me ask you, what was your reaction when you got to hear about this, and what questions, I mean, according to Isaac now, what questions do you think deserve answers?
Well, first, my initial reaction was joy and relief that the Dapchi girls had finally been released. But nevertheless, I agree that the abduction never should have taken place. I think that after the Chibok abduction incident, we should have learned our lessons and we should have better prepared and equipped our schools and the military to be able to prevent any further abduction. So I also think that, yes, there are a lot of questions to be asked. For instance, why was the school still open if they didn't have adequate security to ensure that the girls were protected? And then now that another set of girls have been abducted, what is going to be the confidence of parents, especially parents of girl child, to send their children to schools in Northeast Nigeria? So these are some of the questions that I think bother me.
Oh, all right, but I mean, it's talking about, restoring confidence. Already, I think as one of the measures, taken to, ensure this doesn't happen again, the Borno State government has, actually put a close to boarding schools. Don't you think that's, apart from the fact that the military has also, accepted or has said that we don't have enough manpower to guard the number of schools we have in the Northeast and even Nigeria at large? I mean, so the Borno State government has taken one step. Do you think that is a good one?
It is definitely a good step, and it was a necessary step, but I don't think it is enough. So the questions we're going to ask is that, is there any assurance that every parent is going to be confident enough to simply move their children from the boarding school to day schools, or are there still going to be parents who, out of fear, will want to stop their female children from going to school totally? So these are questions that we still need to answer and issues that we still need to address.
All right, very well. I'll still come back to you in a bit. But Isaac, let me get you. I mean, still talking about measures. The Nigerian civil defense, they have also been going on. I'm sure they went to some towns, some schools in Adamawa State, Gombe, and thereabouts. So they are beginning to make those efforts to ensure this doesn't happen. Because if you look at the pattern, it happened from Chibok in Borno. It went to Dapchi in Yobe. I mean, Adamawa, Gombe. Those are like kind of the closer states to these places where it has happened. And the NSCDC is already in Adamawa State, as part of measures or efforts to ensure this doesn't happen.
Now, the first thing is nobody knows when this thing is going to happen. And the cases of attacks on schools and institutions, a lot of countries are facing that. But then why are we only putting proactive measures, not reactive? Why are we putting reactive measures instead of proactive measures? We're supposed to have those things already in place. I expected that, okay, with the case of the Chibok girls, all boarding schools in such areas will be, not now that they are going, they're supposed to have been there before now to avoid a repetition of what we're seeing already. Like the NCDC, the local vigilantes and everybody, those are high priority areas. Like Susan said, what's the assurance you're giving me if I have a daughter, I can send her to school and then I can relax? That's the question on a lot of parents' mind right now. And then if the security is not enough, as the military is saying they are not enough, that means I think we should start thinking in the line of what the General Tiwa Danjuma is saying. We have to start arming ourselves. Because if the military are saying they are not enough, they are not sufficient, and then the NSCDC are also there, that means parents and wards of parents will have to take care of their wards, and then you will have to also take care of your children if you're sending them to schools. Because if a general, former chief of army staff, former chief of army staff, former chief of defense is saying, Minister of Defense is saying that the military is not robust enough. I don't want to put his right words. It's raising a lot of other questions.
If we're able to look at that, don't you think that will be an invitation to chaos if everyone is to arm himself, as the general has said?
But not arming ourselves. What has that gotten us so far? That's the first question. I think that's what's actually engineered or brought about him saying that we not arming ourselves is what is leading to this. But let's try it. It's an alternative, right? Let's give it a try.